Hey guys, welcome back to Betty's Kitchen. So today's meal is inspired by the islands, a little bit of Jamaican flair or the Caribbeans, whatever you want to call it. I made some buttered, grilled, roasted whole chicken with cabbage and plantains on the side. This meal was delicious. I started off with spatchcocking my whole chicken. Now this is a medium-sized chicken. You can get it from your local grocery store. Not too big, not too small. I spatchcock my whole chicken because it just makes it easier to cook all the way whenever you put it in the oven. You can use a very sharp knife or some kitchen scissors for this. You're just basically cutting the sides of that back all the way to the end and you just pull it out. Now after I cut it, of course, I do not throw it away because you can't be out here wasting meat. I cook it with the whole chicken and I'm going to use it later on for my cabbage. So after you remove the back of the chicken, you're going to flip your chicken over and compress the middle, kind of like you're doing CPR, and until you hear like a pop sound. When you hear that pop, then you know that your chicken is as flat as it should be. And it's time to season our chicken. Now this method that I'm using to season my chicken is honestly one of my favorite methods because I use this method to season everything, where I combine everything into a bowl and then I apply it to the meat or whatever food that I'm applying it to, because that way I feel like you're able to achieve the best result. So I melted a stick of butter into a bowl, and then I have all my ingredients listed at the bottom of the screen, and I placed all those ingredients into that butter and mixed it. Now the first season that you're gonna see me using is called ground annatto. Now I usually use paprika mostly for the coloring of for the food. Ground annatto is honestly, I found that it's really good for coloring if you want to have that ready smoky look to your chicken or your food. It's really great for that. Not much for the flavor, but really for the coloring of the coloring that it makes. So yes, I mixed all of that together, and you're gonna use a brush, meat application brush. If you do not have that, you can use your hand and just massage the flavors into the chicken in the back. Kind of opened up the skin and made sure that I also placed like the butter inside of that, just to make sure that that chicken really receives all the flavor that I am giving it, honey. You feel me? So this is the injection I was talking about of the flavor into the chicken. If you do not have a chicken flavor injector, it is really good for large amount of meats like this, like a rotisserie chicken. That's pretty much all I use it for, to be honest with you. So if you don't really make large rotisserie chickens like that, probably it's not the best thing for you to get, but hey, it was cheap, so I got it. Plus my chicken could receive all the flavor that I had for it. So I squeezed that butter left over from the seasoning and just injected it inside the leg. the thighs, the body, and that's pretty much it. Also, don't forget to season the spinal cord of the back of the chicken you removed, because I will still use that later on for the cabbage. So we're gonna move on and go ahead and pop this baby in the oven for 45 minutes for 425 degrees. You don't want it too close to the top. Kind of put it in the middle of the oven so that it can cook slowly and everything is nice and done. We're moving on to our cabbage. Right here, I chopped up some green and red bell peppers, onions, and some habanero peppers, which are optional. And now we're gonna go ahead and just chop up our cabbage. As far as the size that you should purchase, it just depends on your portion size, like how many people you're feeding. My cabbage was not that big because it was just for me. It was about the size of my hand. And the way that I cut it up was I just went vertical and then horizontal. At the end, it kind of just looks like a salad bowl. Now we're gonna go ahead and start cooking our cabbage. You're gonna use a medium-sized pan or a large-sized pan, depending on how much cabbage you're making. I went ahead and put 3 spoons of butter, 2 spoons of coconut oil, because coconut oil is the best and pretty healthy. Went ahead and let it melt in a pot. Go ahead and add your chopped vegetables that you chopped at the beginning of the cabbage part of the video, which was green and red bell pepper, onions, and habanero pepper. Habanero pepper, remember, is optional if you want to omit this, if you don't want it to be spicy, which honestly wasn't too spicy, but hey, I feel like my spice buds are a bit different if you're not from the Caribbean or African descent. We're like, our tolerance level for spice is kind of up there. So if you haven't noticed, a lot of my videos have me put in habanero pepper in everything, but hey. You're gonna go ahead and add some fresh basil. I believe this was 4 or 5 basil leaves, and just kind of chopped it up with my fingers. Added it to the pot. If you have dry basil, you can use that too. I like fresh basil. And then I'm gonna get some, I believe this was 3 sticks of oregano, and I'm just kind of removing the leaves from that. Don't put the whole stick, the whole stick of oregano in there. Make sure you pluck out the leaves and just sprinkle it. You don't have to worry about chopping it with your fingers. Just sprinkle it into the pot and you should be good. We're gonna go ahead and add our cabbage. If you're putting in more cabbage than I am and it seems like it's a lot, it's okay. It's gonna shrink as you're cooking it, especially when you add that chicken broth later on in the video. Now it's time for my favorite part, seasoning, because that's the best part of any cooking video. I went ahead and used a normal kitchen spoon, not a teaspoon, like a normal kitchen spoon, and I have all my ingredients listed at the bottom of the video. Now that we're done with our seasoning, we're gonna go ahead and bring back our friend chicken back, chicken spinal cord or whatever. I removed it from the oven and I added in there. Now what this does is that chicken back has a lot of flavor. So make sure it's cooked first. Don't throw it in there raw. I didn't tell you to do that now. So I'm just gonna just mix it with there just so that flavor from that back can just get on my cabbage. You can remove it and eat it with it when you're done. If you want to throw it away, that's your business. I don't know why you would want to throw it away because it's actually delicious. And I go ahead and add about half a cup of chicken stock to my cabbage. Now you're gonna go ahead and place a lid to your cabbage and cook it for 10 to 15 minutes. Now I like my cabbage to be cooked very well. If you like a little crunch to your cabbage, you might wanna cook it for less or taste it as you go. It is a vegetable, so it just all depends on how you like to cook it and how crunchy or soggy you like your cabbage. But that's it. This is what the result was. This is honestly was the best cabbage I've ever made. It was delicious. Take your chicken out of the oven, cut it up, put it to the side, eat it with your cabbage. I fried some plantains to the side to go with my chicken and cabbage because plantain goes with everything. That's all things African and Caribbean. Honestly, all things food. But that's just me because I love plantain and I think a lot of people will agree. But that's it. Everything turned out excellent. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Catch you guys in my next video.